Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. Well, Pistons, we lost another tough one tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. The final score was 126-120. We were ahead 117-116. Cade makes a pass up the court to Knox, and he dunks it with 140 left, and we take the lead. And then things did not go well down the stretch. So anyway, it was a real tough loss. And also at the end of the game, we're down by 4 or by 5, and then Burks hits a shot. He hits a 3, gets fouled, and they call the foul before the shot. He makes a shot. It would have been a 4-point play. We would have cut it to 1. So it's just kind of the way that the season's going. But we're going to get into that in the game tonight. And but first, we're also going to talk about Ausar, that he was phenomenal tonight. And, he just keeps on seeming like he's playing his best game. I think the last 3 games, he's like been 6 for 10, 6 for 10. And tonight he was 9 for 12. So he is really, he's still doing all the rebounding and passing and stealing and blocks, and he has been, it's discouraging. This is, I do not blame you, and I am optimistic, and I really am going to say I do believe this team is going to be good, and I don't blame you for not believing me. I don't believe you for not being fed up with them, but I just hope that you hang in there, because I think it is going to be, I knew it was going to be a roller coaster, but we've been down at the bottom of the roller coaster for a long time. So please subscribe. If you're watching this, I would love it. We're getting a lot more subscribers, and it's real exciting for me. We got a lot of viewers, and thank you very much for that. But just hit subscribe. And anyway, we'll get started with Ausar, and he has been brilliant, and he is getting, on the rookie ladders, he's third. Of course, he's behind Chet and Victor, but he is just out of this world. He has been exceeding expectations by a mile. He was 35 minutes, 9 for 12 tonight. He only shot 1 3, and he had 8 rebounds and 5 assists. And again, he doesn't touch the ball that much, so 5 assists is awesome. 3 steals, 2 blocks, 21 points, and I think that's his career high. But he has been, again, a star. We have a star. I called him that last time, Ausar Thompson. But he is just, he made so many cool dunks tonight and drives to the basket, and his teammates are finding him, and he's so good. I said this when we got him, that he was great at cutting and finding those holes in the defense and back cutting the teams and getting position for lobs and running the floor on the break. And so he just does so many things, and we are blessed to have him, and he is going to be a fun, exciting player to watch for the next 8 years or more, whatever. You pretty much have control of the guys for at least like 8 years. So, and I would only think that we were going to keep him. So it's a real positive on a team. We lost our 9th in a row tonight, and so we're 2-10. So that's rough. But he has been a shining star. I think our team played with great energy tonight. I think this was, the Bulls game was like a downer. The Bulls game was not fun to watch. But this game tonight, there was a lot of great players, great plays made by players. But let's jump into the big, the elephant in the room, Cade Cunningham. He struggled again. He had 10 points last game. He had 9 points tonight. He was 4 for 14 and only 1 for 3 on threes. And no free throws. And I'm so mad, that's because he doesn't fall down. Is it because he's not going that fast when they bump him and hit him? They push him, hit him, and teams are loading up on him. And it's real frustrating, and he needs to play better, and he needs to stop turning the ball over. Yes, he does, but everybody's coming after him. It is just so obvious if you watch the game and you just take the time and look where all the defenders are. Every time he touches the ball, you look at how they manhandle him. You look how they never give him space. He's never open. And, it's hard. He just needs some teammates to help him out. A lot of guys did some good things tonight, but they overplayed us so bad. We got dunk after dunk after dunk because they're just loading up mostly on Cade. And so, he had, a brilliant game. He hit 12 assists. That's just because everybody's just loading up on him. So he's just got to keep on passing the ball, I guess, until we score enough buckets till we beat some teams. So, but this is what Monty said. Monty said that after the Bulls game, they had bodies all over him tonight. They blitzed him so that he couldn't get down the lane. We missed a ton of shots. Of course, we had non-shooters in the game, and if those shots open it up for Cade, he'll get to his spots and be able to find guys off penetration. But that's on us. And I must say, Monty did try tonight. There were times Monty had different lineups out there than he's ever had before with Cade. He had some stretches where he had even Knox out there and Ivy, and so there were some shooters out there, a couple of shooters. That's why I keep on saying that we need to have at least two real good shooters, and Burks was out there with him some of the time too. Of course, Burks struggled really bad, and that hurt us early. He ended up shooting good from the three because he made a bunch at the end, but he struggled in the first half especially. But here's what I want to say. All this thing is about defense. All of these guys can't play. Ivy can't play because he can't play defense. Our starters are getting drilled. Our starters gave up. We gave up 38 points in the first quarter, but our starters played like the first 8 minutes of the first quarter at least, and the Hawks shot 78%. They did not miss. And so if this is all about defense, then they're not doing it. The guys that we're having in there, the starters that Monty's choosing to start, and so that's tough. But anyway, James Edwards III, he writes for The Athletic, and he said defenses are hounding him, packing the paint, and forcing him to play in a crowd because who he shares the floor with. There you go. Basically, Monty said the same thing, but Monty's the one that gets to choose who goes out there with him. Cade has shared the court the majority of his minutes with who? Killian Hayes, who's not a good shooter, and Ausar Thompson, who's not a good shooter. So, again, I've said that you can play one of those guys, especially Ausar, because he does so many great things. But you have to have, you got to have two good shooters. So it's interesting. Tonight, Stu didn't play very much, and Stu didn't shoot. Was 1 for 5 on threes, and so that's really tough. But our offensive rating with the starters is bad. It's 101.8. So our defense isn't good. They played 100 minutes together, and our offensive rating is terrible, and our defense isn't any good. And again, as a team, we're giving up every game. It's like 120 or tonight 126, and so if we're trying to reward and keep defensive players out there, then that's, I don't know, I don't get it. So Edwards said after that game against the Bulls, and Cade shot 4 for 15 that game. Again, tonight he was 4 for 14. But he said after Cade had that 4 for 15 night against the Bulls on Sunday that maybe that will be the final straw, and Cade needs help sooner than later. And so it's not the final straw. It's not. He's just, does Monty just not want to be? A lot of people who are coaches and leaders and principals and different people, they don't want to be wrong, and they don't want somebody to tell them what to do because they want to be in control. And so I did see Monty make some different changes and try some different lineups and do some things. But anyway, Ivy, we did find out that he said that he wanted to thank the trainers for helping him get back, because he said, I was really, really struggling. I could barely even watch TV. I had some symptoms that were crazy, some symptoms I've never had before. He thanked his wife for helping him. But there was some speculation that he was so upset, like I said, after the Pelican game where he did so great and then got us to come back and then he didn't get to play in the fourth quarter, that maybe he was frustrated, so he was sitting out. I don't know. But obviously it's not that. He said he was severely sick, and that's why he was out for such a long time. I also heard that Cade was sick, but Cade played through it. So is that true or not? I don't know. It's hard because you hear, and I listen to everything I can. I listen to every podcast I can. I read as much as I can. I look on Twitter or X, and so you never just know. But let's talk about Ivy. I will say I was so excited. He played so great in the first half. He came out with so much energy and played with confidence. So all this has been hard on him. Even when he realized that, hey, I'm not going to start, and psychologically it did impact him. And he still played well. He still shot great, but he still played played 20 minutes. And guys that shot terrible played 30 minutes. But he made a great defensive play tonight. He came from the weak side and knocked the ball away from a big guy. He jumped way up in the air and swatted it, and that was great defense. But he came out and played with such energy tonight and such confidence, and he shared the ball so brilliantly. I speculated that one of the things Monty said is we want to play team ball, and if you don't play team ball, you're not going to get to play it. So I thought, when asked about Ivey, but he had 5 assists tonight. He played 20 minutes and he had 5 assists, and he made great passes. So, and again, I still am concerned. I thought I was so happy. I saw in the first half there was a timeout, and during the Hawks called timeout, and as the players are coming off the court, Monty met Ivey out on the court and put his hand on his shoulder and was talking to him, and I felt, oh, that's good. They're communicating. Monty's communicating with him and sharing with what he's done wrong, and Ivey's playing well, and it seems like he's had a breakthrough and has more confidence. And you just tell, even when he was playing good before, you could just see that he didn't have the energetic self that he was like last year. So, but then he doesn't come back in the game. He plays so great in the first half. He doesn't get to play until there's 2 minutes and 59 seconds left in the third. He always came in before that in the third. He'd always come in, usually 4 or 5 minutes into the first quarter and also into the third quarter. But he is playing so great, and then he didn't put him back in. And the only reason he wouldn't have even got 20 minutes tonight if it wasn't for, he got 21 minutes. If it wasn't for Ausar got hurt at the end. So at the end of the game, and that was really concerning because he's been playing so great, and Ausar got hurt down the stretch, and so he stuck Ivey in. But otherwise, he would have left Ausar in there, and Ivey would have played less than 20 minutes. But he put him in there, but I was so thankful that Ausar did come back into the game with like 20 some seconds left. Ausar came in the game, and so he seems fine. So that's great to hear. So that's, again, the key to the season, and I'm never going to stop saying it, is our core 4 guys and developing them, and that's Cade and Ausar and Duran and Ivey, and that's our core. And so, if you find out at the end of the year and you play those guys a bunch, and then they're not good, and you got to decide, or is one of them not going to work out, then that's another thing. But we need to find them out. I believe in those 4 guys, and I think Stu can be a good role player. I think Sasser can be a good role player. Sasser struggled. I jinxed him. I think I said his success couldn't be sustainable because he was shooting like 58% on twos and like 60% on threes, and so he just only got to play 8 minutes tonight, and he was 0 for 2. So I think he's going to have a lack of confidence. But there's lots of ups and downs. Victor's been up and down now. He's had a lot of good games, but even if sometimes he scores 19, but he shoots terribly and misses a lot of threes. So we need to just let those guys play. We need to let Ivey play, and there's minutes to go around, and we need to let play Burks. He's a good shooter. Knox is still, I think Knox is going to have a role. He ran a play for Knox, he said. Knox played 29 minutes, but we'll just go ahead and run through all of this stuff. But first, shout out to Greg and George. They've been 35 years together working on telecasts, so that's amazing. That's a long time. I've been listening to them. It's just like, grew up listening to George Kell. It's really cool to have those voices that you know and like. So, but Monty did say we got to stop using young as an excuse. But the reality is, it's a reality. When you're playing guys that are all under 22 years old, you're going to have some struggles, and you're not going to be consistent, and you're going to make mistakes down the end. But you got to play them, and they got to learn, and they got to play through the mistakes, and they got to play in the fourth quarter of close games. And like I said, we were up 117 to 116 with a minute 40 tonight, and then before we lost. But it's tough when you're losing 9 in a row, and it's tough to stay up and positive. But Marvin Bagley. So here's some great things about tonight. Marvin was marvelous. He 30 minutes, 9 for 12, 4 for 4 from the line. So he scores 22 points on only 12 shots, and doesn't even shoot a 3. 10 rebounds. And so he had 6 offensive rebounds. So we dominated them aside. Points in the paint were crazy in our favor. 70 to 48 points in the paint. Part of it was their defenses were so loaded up on Cade that guys could just slip back by the basket, and they were open for lobs or dunks. But Marvin was magnificent, and I already gave a score. 35 minutes, 9 for 12, 0 for 1. 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. It's just, it never stops. He just keeps on filling the stat sheet like nobody else. Stu, again, is played, he loves Stu, but he played him only 19 minutes. Stu was 4 for 9, which is not bad, but he was only 1 for 5 on threes, 1 for 1 from the line, 1 rebound, and 10 points. So, I know Monty said he's going to play guys you have to rebound, but Stu, nobody tries harder than Stu. So I don't know quite how it worked out that he only got 1 rebound. But Cade 38 minutes. So Cade they keep track of how far you run during games. Cade has run more miles than any NBA player. Cade has played more minutes than any player in the NBA. So he is tired down the stretch. I would play him down the stretch. Maybe try to get him a minute or 2 here earlier. There sometimes I like the way Monty subs him, get him in the third quarter. I want him to play 35 minutes at least, 35, 36 minutes. I just think sometimes that extra minutes, like I said, he played, especially when he's struggling. So when he's struggling, and he played 38 minutes tonight, but when he's 4 for 14, maybe then you play him a couple minutes less, and maybe that will help him. So, but he had, again, 4 rebounds, 12 assists, 3 steals, and 6 turnovers. So he had, he was dribbling up the court one time, and a Hawks player came up from behind and tapped it away. He had a couple careless turnovers, but he had, just somewhere he just turned it over. But 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. So 12 assists to 6 turnovers. That's 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio. That's not a bad ratio. We still want less than 6. We still want his assists to be just under 4, but he had, again, only 9 points. I'm not sure how many. There haven't been many games in his career that he's only scored 9. He was averaging at least 22 coming in tonight, even despite the 10-point game he had against the Bulls the game before. So Killian, his minutes are being reduced a little bit, and he doesn't play bad. He doesn't play great. 23 minutes, 3 for 8. 1 for 3 on threes. So those are just, below average. And so he's 1 for 2 from the line. And I think that's a mental thing for him too. So, but he had 3 rebounds, 5 assists, which is good for 20. He had 2 blocks and only 1 turnover. So he's 5 assists and 1 turnover. That's awesome. So Knox, 29 minutes, 5 for 8 and 2 for 4 on threes and 4 rebounds. And so he's playing with confidence. We'll see how long he can sustain that. And, like I said, when Sasser, sometimes players get on streaks even for multiple games. And, sometimes it's not sustainable. But we'll see. We could use him. He's, I think, about 6'7". So, but here's another real positive for tonight. But he doesn't necessarily get rewarded. But James Wiseman, 14 minutes. He played hard. He played with energy. He was everywhere. 5 for 6. He made 5 out of 6 shots. He dominated in his 14 minutes. He was only 1 for 2 from the line, 4 rebounds, 11 points in 14 minutes. That's, again, when you look how many points this guy scores, but how efficient they were and how many minutes they played to get their stats, it matters. So Burks we needed him to play a little bit better tonight. He didn't finish that bad, his points, but he played 23 minutes, but he was really cold, especially in the first half. He finished 4 for 12, and he's, a good shooter, but he was 4 for 9 on threes, and then but again, some of those came at the end, which they all count, but then he was 4 for 4 on free throws. He still always draws those fouls that last shot that he took with 27 seconds left, the Hawks weren't even in the penalty, so he didn't get to shoot any free throws for that. We just had to take the ball out on the side. Sasser, 8 points and 0 for 2, and so he scored 0. But both teams shot 52%. We shot 35% on threes, and they shot 36% on threes. I mean, the score was close, the game was close. But here was a thing, especially in the first half. We were 16 for 23 on free throws, and they were 24 for 26. So we shot 70%, they shot 92%. So they outscored us by 8 points from the line. So another positive for tonight, we had 36 assists, which is a huge number of assists. We also had like 20 dunks. So I said this before the season. I know a lot of people, I got a lot more listeners now than I did back then, but I predicted that the Pistons were going to lead the league in dunks, and it remains to be seen, obviously, but based on what we did tonight, it was awesome. So anyway, I hope that you hang in there with the Pistons. There was a lot of fun to watch. It's discouraging when they keep on losing, and especially when they lost. So I saw a stat. We have to win 19 games. We have to win 19 more games for our Monty will have the most losses in his first 4 years as general manager of any general manager. So, and I don't know if it's in the last 20 years or what it is, but we got to win 19 games, otherwise he'll be the worst. So I still think he's made a lot of good moves. I think that there's a lot of pieces there. I still think that you get these games that come down to the wire, and you're playing without Dern and Bogey, and it's 2 starters. That's 40% of your starting lineup, and then Marcus Morris is going to be Monty Morris. Is going to be, he's going to be 6th or 7th man when he comes back. So I know Monty doesn't want that to be an excuse, and in a lot of ways we can't keep on making excuses, but it still is a real thing. But anyway, again, please subscribe. I'm getting a lot of subscriptions. I want to get 1,000 subscriptions, so that would really help. And click on the thumbs up and be the reason somebody feels cared for and loved. And let's go Pistons. Let's turn this thing around.